So the circle of fifths is what you learn after you learn all the basic stuff, like the whole steps and the half steps, like just simply the letters of the musical alphabet and the staff of the treble clef or the bass clef. We are basically taking a look at this little guy right here that I'm going to explain. It looks very, very scary, but I promise you, it's not that bad. So it's called the circle of fifths. Let's talk about that name real quick, because the name in itself is overlooked, but it explains pretty much everything. So basically all the circle of fifths is going to tell us is how many sharps or flats are within a key, okay? And that basically means, hey, if I apply the whole step, half step method of a scale, aka the major scale or the minor scale, it's going to basically come out in the mathematical formula to giving you a certain amount of sharps or flats. And a key signature just tells us how many sharps or flats are in that key, and then it also tells us what key we're in. So that sounds a little confusing at first, but I promise you it will not be that bad as long as you watch the rest of this video. This is your C major formula: whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. That basically means if you start on C major and you do a whole step, so C whole step is D, up another whole step is E, up a half step is F, up a whole step from F is G, whole step from G is A, whole step from A is B, half step from B is C. That's all this whole thing is telling you, dude. If you use that mathematical formula of whole steps and half steps, this is how many sharps or flats you're going to wound up with, okay? So it's called the circle of fifths because once you start on C and you go clockwise to G, to D, to A, to E, to B, it's up a fifth. So how do we count up a fifth? If we start at C, we count C, D, E, F, G. It's that simple. It's up in fifths. So what does that tell us? Well, if we go from C to G, which is up a fifth, that would tell us that G is the first key that gets a sharp, which is F sharp. I'm going to tell you more about the key signature in a second here, but let's keep going. Up a fifth from G, G, A, B, C, D is D. D major now has two sharps in the key signature, okay? If we go up a fifth from D, D, E, F, G, A, because we always count the first one, right? A has three sharps, okay? And it goes so on and so forth until you get to the very bottom, okay? Which we will talk about in a minute. So now that you understand that every time you start at C and you count up a fifth, you add a sharp. Now, how do you know what sharp to add? Well, this is where more fifths come in. So I want you to just think about the fact that G has an F sharp in it. Okay, so if you use that whole step, half step method, you're going to wound up with G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp for that scale, major scale for G. Now, if we start on F sharp and we count up a fifth from F sharp, F, G, A, B, C, C sharp, look at D major. It has F sharp and C sharp, which basically in turn means that you take the previous sharp, F sharp, bring it to the next one, and then count up a fifth from there. So the fifths rule works for the key itself, which is the note that you're starting on, and the key signature, which is just the sharp or flat that is, which is just the sharp that is in the key. Okay? It's the accidental in the key. So, in turn, if we're at D major, we have an F sharp and a C sharp. If we go up a fifth from the last sharp, which is C sharp, C, D, E, F, G. That would mean that G sharp would be the next accidental that we would add to the next key, which is A. So now A has F sharp, C sharp, and G sharp, okay? So going further, as you can see, A major over here has three sharps, F sharp, C sharp, and G sharp. The next sharp, 5 up from A, is E, A, B, C, D, E. That has, you take the previous sharps from the last ones, F sharp, C sharp, and G sharp, go to the last sharp that you added, which was G sharp, and go up a fifth from G sharp. G, A, B, C, D, D sharp. And then that's it, so on and so forth. Okay, I'm going to explain how that helps us in literally 1 minute. Just check out the flats real quick. The flats, if you go counterclockwise, it's going to be the circle of fourths because we count in flats. I'm sorry, it's going to be called the circle of fourths because we count in fourths. Okay, so check this out. C to F, C, D, E, F is a fourth. F to B flat is a fourth. F, G, A, B flat. B flat to E flat is a fourth. E flat to A flat is a fourth, so on and so forth until you get to the very bottom, okay? Within the flats, it works the same way with fourths. Our first flat key is F. That has a B flat in it. If we go up a fourth from B flat, B, C, D, E, our next one that we add is E flat. So it's the same thing with the sharps where you grab the previous one, but except you're counting up a fourth instead of a fifth. So if we're in the key of B flat and then we go up a fourth, that would be E flat. Let's grab the key signature. Take these two, bring it over here, go up a fourth from the last one that you added. So that would be E, F, G, A flat. Everything works in fourths going with the flats, okay? Fifths going this way, fourths going the other way. It's that simple. It's not very difficult. Now, how does this help us? Well, this is essentially the mathematical formula that is going to help you understand keys as well as you possibly can. You're going to basically be able to, if I take this away, I'm going to be able to ask you, hey, how many sharps does D major have? And you're going to know that it has 2 sharps because you can simply count. Because we know that C major is the one that has 0 sharps, count up 5 to G, and then count up, that has 1 sharp, and then count up another 5 to D, which then has 2 sharps. If we think about F, if I ask you, hey, how many flats does E flat major have? Well, we know that we start on C, and then we go up a fourth. C, D, E, F, okay? Go up another fourth, because that's the one with the 1 flat. Go up another fourth from F, F, G, A, B. B flat. We're up to 2 flats now. Now go up another fourth from B flat, B, C, D, E, E flat. And now we have our 3 flats, okay? And you're also going to be able to do the same thing with being able to know what flats are in the key signature. It all works in this way. Now, you might think that it's really annoying to have to count through all this stuff, but I'm telling you this right now. You will get these memorized a lot faster than you think if you do this regularly. Go on musictheory.net, try out some exercises for key signatures. You will memorize them a lot faster, and that's the next thing that we're going to talk about very, very quickly is how to know what key we're in just by seeing the key signature and not having to count. So if we have 3 sharps here, go to the last sharp, G sharp, go up a half step. The answer is A. So that would mean we're in the key of A. This piece right here is a good example. It has 3 sharps, so you can basically go to the last sharp, which is G sharp, and go up a half step. Okay, same ordeal with this one. This one has 1 sharp in the key signature, which is F sharp. So as you can see here, we have 2 flats, okay? Now, how do we figure out what key we're in based on the flats? Either do it the way of the circle of fifths or the circle of fourths, where you count in fourths. So we know our first key is C, up a fourth is F, and then up a fourth from F is B flat, which is our key. But the easy hack of that is all you have to do is go to the second to last flat, and that is your key. Okay? So note right here, this note is a B, okay, because it's the 3rd line up. That is your key. It's that simple. There's no need to count up in steps or anything. Just go to the second to last one. Check this out. Now we have 4 flats. What key would this be? Well, you can either count up in fourths throughout the whole circle of fifths, or just to note really quick, go to the second to last flat, which is A flat, and that is your key. It's that simple. Doing it in flats is almost usually easier for most people because of that rule. So now we know how the circle of fifths work, and we know how to find what key we're in, and we know how to find how many sharps or flats are in that key. One more thing I got to briefly talk about is relative minor. On the inside of the circle of fifths, you can see all these little letters, okay? That means that the corresponding one is your relative minor, and that basically means that there are major keys and there are minor keys that share the same key signature. So C major and A minor both have no sharps or flats in it. G major and E minor have 1 sharp. D major and B minor have 2 sharps. Every single major key has a minor key that has the same key signature. How does that work? Well, there is a 3 half-step difference between each major and minor key, no matter if it's sharps or flats. So check this out. If we're in the key of D major, okay? If you go back 3 half steps, if you want to think of it like 3 frets, if you were to go on the 5th fret of the A string and go back 3 frets, that would be B minor. So basically they share the same exact notes, except you're starting and ending on a different note, and it's going to have different sounds of tonality because you're in a minor key versus a major key. So 3 half steps. That's all I want you to think about. If you're in the key of F major and you go back 3 half steps, you get D minor. They share the exact same key signature, okay? That's why when a lot of composers write stuff, they often make their motifs in a minor key and then go to the relative major and vice versa. That's why when a lot of people solo and shred, they go from the relative major and the minor lock, because it's a really easy way of getting some different ideas. So I really hope that helped. Ask me questions in the comments. I'll be here to answer them. Don't worry about it. And the next video will be on more new stuff for music theory. So stay tuned.